Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to be talking about the newest episode of Helluva, which is Season 2, Episode 2, Seeing Stars. Now, this episode is mostly centered on Stolas' daughter, Octavia, just like kind of how the second episode of Season 1 was. And she had this... Oh, before I really dive into it, spoilers, because it's been a few days, so warnings. Anyways, it focuses on... her wanting to, she had this date planned for her dad to go do something with him, and she's real excited, but he's too preoccupied with the whole drama with, his wife and everything about them getting divorced and all that. So she decides, screw this, and she's like, I'm gonna go do this myself. So she goes and breaks in the imp headquarters, and she steals the book and then teleports to where she wants to go, see the stars. Which, ironically enough, it's funny. It's the the Walk of Fame, the stars on L.A. and Hollywood. So while she's there, Imp teams up with Stolas to go find her, and that's basically the whole episode, is trying to find her, along with traumatic issues from the the characters and all sorts of antics and everything. So this episode was really interesting in a lot of aspects due to. This was the first real episode, I feel like, in the fandom, on social media and all, that it really divided them in a way, because as me being a fan of Helluva since they released that pilot, or even before, because I was looking forward to it after watching Hazbin Hotel's pilot. So I've been following the fandom since then, and every episode was near unanimous, if all unanimous praise. Like, everyone loves it. I mean, of course people have their rankings, but everyone had good things to say about it. But this one has a lot of people divided based on, one, expectations, two, the length that it takes for them to come out. So people have these preconceived notions on what they want to have happen, and they just don't like how stuff is playing out. So yeah, and I wanted to take a few days, because upon me watching it, like, I've enjoyed every single episode of this show. I really have. But this one I did enjoy too, don't get me wrong. But I just wanted to take a few days to process it, watch it a couple more times, and really get my thoughts digested before I just made a quick knee-jerk reaction. And upon thinking about it, I do think it's a solid episode. It has flaws, in my opinion, which I'm about to go into. But I did enjoy it overall, and I think people are being a bit interested, let's say, in their takes. So one of the main things that I had an issue with is it feels, there's lots of stuff I've been seeing online about, and I kind of agree in some aspects. For one, it feels like the past two episodes of angst basically we saw between Blitz and Stolas, on how everything that happened with the Aussies episode, and even the last episode we had this whole thing with Stolas. He's seen into himself crying about how he realizes their relationship is not as good as he thought it was. And they both feel like they're being used for personal gains when they both really care about each other and stuff. And it was this whole bunch of angst and sadness. And in this episode, it feels like all of that was swept under the rug. And a lot of people make things saying it's hinted at, and about how they react with each other and stuff. And there's moments where they're vulnerable and all. And that stuff I do like and all. And it's a developing arc. So it's not expected for it to be dwelled upon too much, because their main priority is finding their daughters, who are both out there somewhere, right? But I just felt like, to not even mention it at all, it just felt like a lot. I saw this one take where they felt like the first episode that they showed off, the Stolas episode showing his flashback and all that, a lot of people thought that probably should have been the finale of season 1 after Aussies, because it takes place literally after the current time part, not the flashback part. And I really agree to that. I feel like that kind of fits with that, because how this feels like, a lot of people say it feels like a filler episode, which I kind of, in a way, get, but it's necessary filler, because all good shows, for a show to be good, is you'll have episodes that are really integral to the overall story you're telling, but you'll also have an episode that has good stuff in it, but it doesn't feel as important. But when you rewatch and think about it, there's stuff that does build up to it down the line. And I think this, in two aspects, developed two characters that didn't really have that much development in the show, period. And that's, of course, Luna and Octavia. And yes, that scene there that you see there was a beautiful scene. It was great how they talked about their, who they are, about what they're, Luna trying to make her feel better. And of course, Luna has a lot of great moments, like where you see when Blitz, first met her and, ended up getting her. And that whole thing was really heartbreaking, and just, I love, like, I don't want to say I love angst and stuff, right, in my shows, but I like getting context to how characters act and why they act the way they do. And this stuff was great. I wish we had more of that stuff, but the episode has a bunch of different plot threads. Like, for example, we finally see Moxie and Millie after we haven't seen them in a while, but they're basically a filler, arc, a filler plot to kind of pad out the runtime. I wish we could have tuned that down a little bit and get more of the good stuff about the personal dynamics between, Blitz and Stolas, them exposing themselves more in vulnerable ways, more of Luna and Octavia having a moment. That stuff was perfect. If the whole episode was like that, I thought this would be like a 10 out of 10 type of thing. But you had different stuff in it, which I get. You don't want the whole thing to be, angst driven and just depressed and stuff, because we literally sat through 2 episodes of depression, right? But it felt like kind of weird tonal shifts, and I feel like I'm doing good discussing this, but at the same time I feel like I'm butchering it, so I do apologize. But I hope you guys were enjoying what I was going with so far. But like I said, the animation, I don't know, it feels like this episode, like the episodes are always good with animation and they're always, obviously improved per, but this one, I don't know, it felt more clean and more like polished. It's like if you give the creators time to make the episode, it gets better and better. Who would have thought? Am I right? But anyway, it looked stunning. I really enjoyed it. The dynamics, because between the characters, I was really enjoying. There was some much needed development between certain characters. There was some fun, side stuff and humor, but it kind of dragged it down a bit for me. But I still, again, enjoyed the episode. I had a blast watching it, and I still love the amount of work and effort that goes into this, and it's free for us to watch on YouTube. So it's really hard for me to critique stuff, but when I see issues I want to at least get it out there so we can have a discussion about it, because I do love this show a lot, and I love to see where it'll continue to go from here. But with all that said, those were my spoiler thoughts on episode 2, season 2 of Helluva Boss. Again, what did you all think of this episode? Did you enjoy it or not? Please let me know down below in the comments. That would be much appreciated. And if you want to hit the bell and subscribe as well to get notified when I upload, that will mean a lot. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye!